Hello, and welcome to the 17th Annual Food Justice Summit. My name is Enrique Orozco, and I am one of the co-organizers of the summit this year. Before we start your session, I want to highlight some of the accessibility options, engagement features, and explain how to access interpretation services. Hola, y bienvenido a la 17ª Cumbre Anual de la Justicia Alimentaria de Chicago. Me llamo Enrique Orozco y soy uno de los coordinadores de la cumbre este año. Antes de empezar, quiero tomar un momento para indicar las opciones de accesibilidad, las herramientas de participación y los servicios de interpretación. Para acceder a los servicios de interpretación, fíjese al lado izquierdo de su pantalla. Al hacer clic al botón que dice Audio Captions, se abrirá una ventana. Haga clic en Select y luego elige el lenguaje de su preferencia, inglés o español. Comenzarás automáticamente a escuchar al intérprete. Para acceder a los servicios de subtítulo, elige el botón que indique CC. Se tiene que elegir una de estas opciones. Para escuchar a los presentadores, elige la opción Floor. Se puede cerrar esta ventana. Finalmente, deberás silenciar el video principal para no escuchar a los presentadores e intérpretes. Estas opciones también se pueden encontrar al lado derecho de su pantalla, bajo la pestaña que dice Interpretación. To access interpretation services, look at the left side of your screen. By clicking on the Audio Captions button, you will open a window. Click on Select and then choose which language you would like to hear, English or Spanish. You will automatically begin to hear the interpreter. To turn on closed captioning, click on the CC button. You will need to select one of these options. To hear the original speakers, select the Floor option. You may close this window. Finally, you will need to mute the main video in order to not hear the original speakers and interpreters. These features can also be found on the right side of your screen under the Interpretation tab. The platform also offers a number of visual accessibility tools. To find them, click on the profile image at the bottom of your screen, and then select Accessibility Adjustments. You can also change the language of the window through this pop-up. Under these accessibility adjustments, you can select different options to make the website easier to read. We welcome you to participate in the conversation through the chat window. Clicking again on the Chat tab on the right side will open up this screen. Select the box at the beginning to begin typing into the chat. At the end of the session, we will open for a brief question and answer portion, and you may type your questions here. Afterwards, I invite you to open the polling tab to answer a very short survey that lets our team know how well we did in planning these sessions. I hope you enjoy the 17th Annual Chicago Food Justice Summit. I will now turn it over to your speakers.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? All righty. Good afternoon. I begin in the name of God, the most beneficent and most merciful. My name is Ahmad. I'm a community organizer with IMAN, the Inner City Muslim Action Network. And I am joined by
Patricia Butler, and I'm also a community organizer with IMAN.
Yes, so welcome to our Kitchen Table Talks in the Fresh Market Edition. We're coming to you live from 67 Racine at the site of the IMAN Go Green Fresh Market. Go Green on Racine Fresh Market, which is part of the larger initiative of Go Green on Racine, which we'll get more into. But we're right now inside of the kitchen doing a session of Kitchen Table Talks. As a community organizer, Ms. Butler has been here by my side since I got here, longtime resident. We've been working, IMAN has been working for 25 years for food justice and food sovereignty on the South Side. And one of the ways that we cultivate leadership in the community, one of the sessions that we've had in the community, is called Kitchen Table Talks. The way that Kitchen Table Talks arose as part of our corner store campaign was that we would have weekly meetings. And in these weekly meetings, we would talk about food justice, we would talk about the different kind of strategies in terms of engaging with corner stores and planning for this fresh market, envisioning this fresh market, which is finally here. But one thing that would happen, as most evening meetings, a good way to make sure that people will come is that you have food available. But we ended up, because we're meeting on 63rd Street, the most common option we would get is pizza or fast food. So we said, what are we doing here? We're talking about food justice, talking about healthy eating, healthy lifestyles, but we're ordering pizza. So once a month we would get together and make a meal, but also make it an opportunity to be able to share stories around dishes, share recipes, and learn from each other in the kitchen. Ms. Butler led a session with us before the pandemic when we were in person. Ms. Butler, you want to talk a little bit about the dish that you made, how you learned about the dish, and why it's significant to you when you made that kitchen tabletop?
Well, the dish I made is called rosa gandule. I'm African American as it looks, but I've worked with a lot of Puerto Rican people, and I love their food. I love all food, and I love that dish. And so one of my co-workers, Clarabelle Velasquez, gave me her recipe for rosa gandules, and it's normally made with pork, but it can be made with smoked turkey, just as flavorful. So when we had our first kitchen sessions, I said, well, I'm gonna give it a try. And so I did. I made a vegetarian version and a smoked turkey version of the rosa gandules. And everyone loved it. It was a hit, and it started us off on the table talks. And now we're in the pandemic and we're at it again.
Yeah.
I have a mask, but we're all vaccinated and everything, so we're good. And so we just want to get back to normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ms. Butler, can you tell a little bit about your story in Chicago Lawn, why you got involved with IMAN and the food justice work?
Yes, I've been living in Chicago Lawn for 34 years now. When me and my husband first purchased the property, we weren't wanted, for lack of a better reason. Our credit was good, we had time on our jobs, and he so chose to come to Chicago Lawn because it hadn't been explored. And because I wanted to go eat something I was familiar with, but he wanted to come to Chicago Lawn. The things that we went through are now illegal, but we had good credit and we had faith, so we were able to purchase our building. And within the first 2 years, we were the second block on the block. They were graffitiing our garages. We were going to the alderman, and they was giving us paint. We had to keep locks on everything. And my husband was walking me to the bus stop to get to work. I met a sister, Miss Abdullah. We band together to get to work to pay our bills. And within 5-10 years, the neighborhood changed. It became a food desert. We lost the jewel, grocery stores, restaurants, everything. We're taxpayers, but this is what happened. And so now we're here. And since IMAN has been in, it's been a haven for people that live in the community. And it's a place for people to come, express themselves, and just enjoy food, talk to people, and just find out the issues in the community because we're growing. And the things that we've been doing over at IMAN and from California all the way to Racine now has never been seen before. We are the model for what other communities need to get together and do, multiracial communities at that. So IMAN is a beautiful thing in 25 years. So I love it. And I'm a part of it.
Yeah. So we are, thank you, Ms. Butler. Sorry, I had a short interruption. Thank you, Ms. Butler. And the Butlers have been a dynamic mother-daughter duo who have been helping us behind the cameras. Patrice, Ms. Butler's daughter. So let's see if you can introduce yourself real quick.
So hi, my name is Patrice. I go to Columbia College, Chicago, and I'm in ASL 1.
Thank you, Patrice. And Patrice is part of our communications team, a little camera shy, but we thank you so much, Patrice, for helping us out. While I have the camera, I'm going to show you just a quick tour of the kitchen.
And I'm just hand delivering this here.
Okay.
My name's Olu. I'm the director of construction here at IMAN. and I just came here and it just happened to, just be at the perfect timing. We officially have in hand our certificate of occupancy for the Fresh
Yes.
Market. We are officially ready to go.
Yes, yes, yes. And this is the first thing like this on Racine in years. The closest thing to food on Racine was Mooing Oil back on 77th and Racine. There are no stores or anything, a lot of churches and just burnt out things. So this is perfect. I have my sanitation license also. That's why I'm allowed in the kitchen to cook. So we're cooking legally and in order.
Right. And it smells
perfect.
great in here. By
Yes.
the way, I don't know if they told you, but I just walked in. The aromas in here are amazing.
Yeah.
I'm getting hungrier and hungrier as I talk.
And it's
The
plenty.
food looks great.
Thank you.
And man, can I just
Yeah, so actually, I haven't introduced the dish yet. So this is a perfect introduction. So this dish, Ms. Butler, thank you for sharing your story about your dish.
Yes.
And I encourage everybody themselves also to, in the chat, to share a story of a dish that's significant to you, how you learned the dish, and why it's significant to you. So the dish that we're doing today, I'm Palestinian, and that's also part of the history of Chicagoland, which we might also get into in terms of Palestinians on the south side of Chicago, as well as in Chicagoland area, and their role on the south side. We'll get that to when we talk about the corner store campaign. But this Palestinian dish is called meklubet, or metlubet, depending on the dialect, and it literally means upside down or flipped over. So this is the finished product. These are the roasted veggies that go on the bottom. This is a vegetarian, actually vegan, gluten-free version of the dish, but we did make chicken on the side. And it consists of, usually they're fried, but we made a baked version so that it would be a little bit healthier. Baked vegetables, and I did cauliflower and eggplant. Every family has kind of their own mix of vegetables that they might put on the dish. And then you line that on the bottom of the pan alongside the meat, if you're doing the meat, and you cook the rice in there with the seasonings. So the moment that everybody's waiting for is the name of the dish, metlubet, but I'm gonna add some suspense because we're gonna talk a little bit more about the ingredients. So I'm gonna give this back to Patrice over here. One thing I wanted to mention, first, here's the dish, here's one of the spellings of the dish, right now we can see it. And I think one good way to realize, what is the kitchen or what is the character of the kitchen is its spices. We're going to talk about some spices for a little bit.
Okay.
So this is labeled meklubet spices. Another spice that people call it sometimes is 7 spice. And that's kind of a staple spice mix in an Arab kitchen. If you were to ask me what 7 spices were in there, I probably couldn't list it for you right now. And the other funny thing is, different brands will have a different mix sometimes too. But the basics, it will have some cumin, some coriander, some pepper, a little bit of cinnamon to kind of give it that smoky and savory flavor to the dish. So that's called 7 spice. And that's what you hear. Ms. Butler, I don't know if you want to talk about the chicken and some of the ways that you spiced it and some of the spices in your kitchen that you had.
Yes, since the dish is more Palestinian and I love to cook, I brought a mixture of called habash and 7 different Middle Eastern spices. I don't know all of them, but they're very flavorful and aromatic as they cook. I use that. I use pepper, salt. I also brought, I was looking for my the Cajun. I use a little sesame for color, and I also use the Old Bay seasoning, and I also use it's a Cajun spice to bring the heat and the flavor to the chicken. So the chicken along with the rice should be very flavorful.
So we made our own little twist on it.
Yeah.
So the chicken has a bit of the Cajun spices. We got the Palestinian spices.
Yeah.
And that's part of the beauty of the kitchen. Why also, where did you learn the dish from? There's a whole conversation about appropriation and different things, but part of the beauty of food and why it's healing is it's a receptacle for culture. Yeah. And it's about the ingredients that's in it, but also the way that it's shared.
Right.
And any time that people migrate, and Chicago is a city of migrants and immigrants from all over, whether you're fleeing racial terror from the South or you're fleeing occupation in the Middle East, come here, find a haven, and you can share recipes.
Common ground.
Exactly.
We come together through food. and conversations.
Yes.
And this is so we have a mixed dish that's very flavorful. Very flavorful.
So the moment of truth now is we're going to try and flip this over. So I've been praying. I'm not an expert at this dish. The way that I learned it is from my mother. She's the expert. So I'm praying this turns out right. Yep.
Yeah,
so she knows.
Yeah.
So we're going to put it on top.
Yeah.
And then we say in Arabic, Bismillah, which means the name of God, because if God's not helping with this, I don't think this dish would ever work.
Okay.
Bismillah.
Ah.
So now let's see how it comes out. And there we go. That's the matloubit. That's just a sample dish. And we'll be, and you see the veggies at the bottom.
Yeah.
And this is the best part. Even if it's stuck to the bottom, that's fine.
Yeah, that's flavor.
That's flavor, exactly.
Yes.
So again, I made this a vegetarian version with the eggplant and cauliflower. And then for those who wanted the protein, we have Ms. Butler's chicken to go next to.
On the side.
We're also today going to be making the salad. So Ms. Butler, while we're making the salad, we'll also talk about the corner store campaign and how we got here. But before we talk about the salad, I'll talk about one more ingredient, which is olive oil. So this is one, olive oil is something that's very significant in Palestinian culture because of olive trees, which have been under threat. And this is also a segue talking about how food is related to all kinds of forms of sovereignty and justice, whatever community you're talking about. In Palestine, one of the biggest things cultivated are olive trees, which have been around for thousands of years. So, you know, if you don't know, Jesus is is a famous person who resided in Palestine. So there are olive trees, to give you just a sense. There are olive trees that have been growing since the time of Jesus Christ, literally. And so this is one brand called Gina olive oil, which is organic and fair trade. So just to tell a little bit in terms of what is, this is kind of lifeblood of Palestinians. Whatever ailment I have, my mother growing up, take a teaspoon of olive oil. The other thing is you can get a nice organic, fair trade bottle, and I do recommend this brand. But really the best olive oil comes directly from farms of Palestinian families. And you will see people bringing big tanks from back home, and you have to have a connect from the Palestinian families that still have land there, and it's a way to keep the culture going. So just to share a little bit about what is stored when we talk about ingredients, when we talk about things that are significant to us, and also the way that those things can come under threat because of racial segregation, because of occupation, or other forms of injustice. Which brings us here to Inglewood when we talk about food apartheid in Chicago. You know, some people use food deserts, but we can also talk about food apartheid, which is one of the things that that we are addressing in our campaign that has led up to the culmination of this asset. Of this asset. And when we talk about food apartheid, it's been it's been a blessing to be able to work alongside many great people. Here's another guest that we have, and I'll let him introduce himself as well.
I'm Michael Bridges, General Manager of the Go Green Community Fresh Market. Pretty excited to support this mission that IMAN is on to eliminate food apartheid. Yeah. So look out for us. We're opening March 8th. We have some great things on the menu for you.
So Michael's the actual master of the kitchen here. He was watching us cook, and I was seeing him getting all
This is his kitchen.
He was in the background like a ninja. I turned around and it was clean. So,
yeah.
But I'm excited to see what he's going to be making out of his kitchen, and as all of you should be. Again, the opening is March 8th. So this is Michael. I'm glad you had a chance to stop by. Of course.
Yeah, he's been tremendous. And so I think our next step would be putting our salad together and go with oil.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Butler, I know one of the things that when we talk about food justice, food apartheid in Chicago, we have our corner store campaign because we don't have too many grocery stores, but there are plenty of corner stores.
Corner stores, and they don't carry. The majority of them they sell alcohol, they sell tobacco, they have maybe 1 or 2 apples or oranges, and they look like something you really don't want to put up under. You know, you really want to eat. So when you go to the corner store, you're going to get a can of something, or maybe if it doesn't smell bad, get some type of meat out of there because you're in a hurry. But some of them you don't want to buy anything out of at all because the meat is old, it doesn't smell good, it's not fresh, and so you're desperate. The kids, I come from CPS. Kids normally, if the parents are working, they'll give them $1 or $2, and they'll go in the corner store and they get a green or a red juice and a bag of hot chips. They can't function in a school on juice and red chips. So the stores, that's part of the campaign, is to give for the children to have nutritious choices so they can learn and be healthy. Most of the corner stores, they sell junk.
So, Ms. Butler, I have a question.
It's true.
The people who run these corner stores, where would you say they're usually from?
Well, not knowing working the way that I work, they come from the Middle East, Palestinian or somewhere like that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they can be disrespectful to African Americans that come to shop with them, and you don't really want to come in. They selling rotten food. They talk bad to you, and that's the only thing you have, you know. And if you don't drive, and then there's no large grocery stores or anything, and that's all you have with the children. So that's part of our campaign with Iman, is to try to talk to and he has done a remarkable job to talk to a lot of the store owners, because he can speak their language, and help them where they need help to bring in fresh fruit and produce and sell better food to the community. And that's part, they're human just like we are, but it hasn't been a bridge to someone to step in and talk to them and let them know, because they wouldn't give the food that they give us to their kids. So it should work both ways. And later on, I found out that they fled their homeland because they were impoverished too. And the same thing, but they come here and give it to our kids. So through our food campaign, we're bridging that gap.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. And that's exactly, and you gave me too much credit, because myself, I feel like it's just an honor to be able to work alongside you and work alongside the community. Because the way that community organizing works, it's not about me being the one person to talk about the store owner. It's myself with the community, with other organizers, speaking with one voice. Having, again, multiracial, multi-ethnic, speaking with one voice.
Yes.
And again, given the privilege that I have, given the proximity, I have uncles and relatives who run stores, or family friends who run stores, or who have run stores. And even for those who haven't run stores, even thinking about economically.
Yeah.
So, if you're from Chicagoland, you can go down Harlem Avenue and see the way that Palestinians have been able to make a home for themselves in Chicago. And a lot of that wealth came from communities like this one.
True.
So that's also part of the mission of this, is finding a way to reinvest in communities, so that this store is able to reinvest, so that business leaders from different communities are able to also see this model and to be able to get on board.
Yeah. Right. Growing up, we had community stores in our area, and so we could go to the community store and grab something because the food was fresh. Now we have became Inglewood, Chicago lawn. We have became, most places within the city have became food deserts, and they overpricing things. And so through Iman and with us, we're trying to bridge this gap to help people that don't drive. Seniors, you got a lot of senior buildings. They should be able, they to live, they should be able to come out of their apartment and go to a corner store and get a bag of apples or something that's fresh fruit, instead of having to walk a mile. to get to fresh food. Greens, string beans, fresh vegetables. Those are things you do not find in corner stores without our campaign, fresh fruit, for us and for the kids. So this is a campaign that it's a lifelong journey now since I found out and learned that it is possible. Because there hasn't been a store like this in Inglewood in years and years and years. We have lost so many. It was Jewels and Hillman's and large grocery stores in Inglewood. I grew up in Inglewood. We had A&P and Hillman's and Jewels and different stores. You have to find a store, a grocery store. And within a mile, we lost the Jewel. We got an Aldi's, and I'm blessed. We got an Aldi's.
Yeah, so there's different solutions. We got Aldi's. There's Whole Foods, which are great in different ways, but there's also a power to be able to have a space that's built by the community and run by the community as well. But any way that there are so many different ways to address food justice and food sovereignty. One of the things about this building is that we also have community space. So upstairs, waiting anxiously for this food, is some of more of our leaders in this kitchen. Can't fit everybody, but shout out to everybody upstairs. To Mama Cora, to Stella. I saw Joni who came in as well. So shout out.
Brother Rodney Burrell, he's here with me. I don't know who else is here, but he did stop in.
Yeah. So shout out to all of our community leaders. Who are part of our campaign who are making this happen.
We want this, and we know all of us have the basic understanding on how important this work is within the community. We live here. Everybody doesn't drive. You should be able to go and get a couple of apples or get some food from a store without having to get on the bus. We have seniors, they have nothing. I want fresh fruit in my corner store. I don't want to walk in and I'm afraid because they standing on the corners. And if you go in there, the food has been in there for weeks, and then they want to charge an arm and a leg. We want to stay as healthy as we can. We just came while we're still in a pandemic. Most of us can't travel. We would love to go to somewhere, and this store here on Racine is a model for all of the other stores. My thinking is we're going to make Jewel and think about it, because we're going to shop in our own stores within our own community.
And Ms. Butler, one of the things that I appreciate everything you're sharing, because every time we talk, I feel like I learn something new about how we address this. And one of the things that's really powerful that you mentioned was about how addressing this food stuff, it's about the food, but it's also about the relationships. Yeah. So you can't talk about any kind of justice, food justice, if you're not talking about racial justice. And there's a nuanced situation when it's among people of color, because like you said, Palestinians aren't coming here in terms of they're the richest people on earth. When you talk to Palestinian store owners, they're trying to open up a store so they can feed their family.
Exactly.
And they have found out a model that can turn some profit, but it's also a model that can extract wealth from the community, as well as not provide too much of benefit, because you might be serving a certain need in the community or a certain desire in the community if you're selling lotto tickets and cigarettes and they're high profit, but you're not serving the benefit of the community. And there are plenty of people in the community who would love to have vegetables accessible.
Exactly. Even for the kids, I grew up, my mother sent me to the corner store, and it wasn't a problem, because people did not just hang out from there unless they offered to help you take your groceries home, because you would end up with too many bags of food. Now, most of the time, people don't really want to go in the corner store unless it's totally necessary, because there's nothing there for us besides getting a can of corn, and that's almost $2.
So what would you say, Ms. Butler? Because sometimes when I speak to corner store owners, and they say, they feel like they can be more honest with me. sometimes they say, well, you know what? This is all well and good. I would love to have vegetables, but whenever I put vegetables in my store, nobody buys them. They end up rotting.
Yeah.
So what would you tell a corner store owner if they say that?
Well, that first they got to let the community know that they are going out getting these fresh produce and greens and things for us to eat. If we are afraid to go in there, it needs to be safe enough for you to feel comfortable enough to go into the store to see what they're offering. If it's 3-4 guys hanging outside the store, personally, I'm not going in there because I feel for my life. Or I don't want to be robbed. Not that they're doing it, but I mean, some people. I grew up in the city. Some people just don't like it that way. I wouldn't send my young daughter to the corner store by herself because I want her to come home. So if they're standing outside of a place of food, of business, then no one is going in. So quite naturally, if you get 2 bunches of greens, if they're fresh, they like $4. When you can go get on the bus or drive to the nearest store and get a couple of bunches of greens or something, but it would be convenient to be able to shop, eat and shop and keep the money in the community so we can have better libraries, places for the kids to go after school, in communities, and that's what we're trying to build, places for the young people to be, places to eat, and just be a total community.
Yeah.
For families to go in and eat, and things like that, and have a meal together.
And Ms. Butler, one other thing that you said that really resonated with me is talking about the safety of the stores.
Yeah.
So again, when we're talking about food justice, it's not just about the produce on the shelves. It's about the safety in the stores. And one name that I want to lift up, with prayers is George Floyd, who, if you recall, was murdered in front of the corner store. That was passing on by the police, and that sparked a whole wave of protests. So when we think about the wave of protests for racial justice, which has been a fight that has been going on since the foundation of this country, but the most recent wave of protests that came as a result of that started in front of the corner store. So really, when I really just want to emphasize in terms of when we talk about food justice, it gets deep. It's about racial justice. It's about how we keep our communities safe, how we hold police accountable, which is another part of the realm of the work that IMAN does, is in our advocacy and organizing around police accountability, which we just helped as part of a coalition pass empowering communities for public safety ordinance in the city of Chicago, which is the how can I say this? The ordinance with the most teeth of any police accountability ordinance in any major city in the United States. It's a big win.
In a low-income community, because we seem to catch it first. Now, I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that people coming from foreign countries and they open up business, they're told to disregard where their businesses are because we're less than anybody else. They're over us. And this is the attitude they have. That's why they don't care, because they don't know. They haven't been to America, but they are told to just run the business and not treat people as humans.
Yep. And even if they're not explicitly told, when you come into the country, it's very clear you see the racial hierarchy of the country.
Exactly.
And part of what the power of this campaign is being able to envision a different world.
Yeah.
So instead of where people of color are pitted against each other so that you feel like you're in a scarcity mindset, I have to take advantage of the person who is lower than me in society to be able to get ahead. Why can't there be partnerships so we can fight racism together?
Let's live together and grow together, because we all want pretty much the same things. We want love, we want safety, we want a nice house, we want our kids to be educated.
Especially when we're talking about among people of color.
Yeah.
Because for myself, as a Palestinian American, as a Muslim American, there's plenty that my community faces in terms of discrimination and surveillance.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that we can learn if we actually partner with Black organizations, Black communities, and our neighbors.
Right, because we We're just like everybody else. We were brought here, and now that we see and we know better, we want to do better, and we do better. But they keep bringing us here. With in the community, most of us are taxpayers. We would love to have a grocery store that we can walk to and sell fresh food, produce, and things just like the North Side, their stores. Most of us have been here. All of the most historical landmarks are out here, out south. This is where it started from.
So with that, Ms. Butler, and because I'm just looking at the time, one thing that I want to do is I want to let us see the Fresh Market itself. We've already started stocking, so you're going to get an exclusive sneak peek at the market. But before we go, I want to show this salad that we started up. So as you can see, I chopped up, and for those who are watching my chopping, I can always take tips. This is amateur, but it's made with love. Chopped up cucumbers, grape tomatoes, and I put some green peppers in there just to give it a little bit of a kick. I put some of the olive oil. I put some of the balsamic vinegar. We'll put a tiny bit of onion to give it another tiny little bite.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. So if people are looking for a simple salad to make at home, and you're tired of iceberg lettuce, it was that simple.
Yeah.
Just cube up some cucumbers. You can throw grape tomatoes in there. You can throw other tomatoes in there. Olive oil, balsamic vinegar, some lemon, squirt of lemon, some salt and pepper, and then the special spice, which is hiding from us right now, is sumac.
Yeah,
sumac, S-U-M-A-C, sumac.
Back during the pandemic, I was told that a lady had a vision, and she said the cure for the COVID was to eat more sumac and teas. And me and my daughter, Ahmad, got us a whole container of sumac. And it has a lemony flavor. I told my brother, and he ordered him fresh sumac too.
So there's lots of different kind of how could you call it, like indigenous remedies.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing in terms of holistic care. When we talk about IMAN, because maybe not everybody's familiar about IMAN outside of our food work, but we run a federally qualified health center which gives COVID vaccines, does education around that as well.
Yeah.
Do COVID tests, but also encourage holistic healing.
Yes.
Spiritually, if there are other indigenous practices that people have to be able to support their immunity, to support that. Healing through the arts.
Yes.
So we have a ceramic studio. We also do support artists in the community, and also seeing culture as another way of building and sustaining our resistance and our fight for love and justice and peace.
And we started a grief workshop 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
So, and everyone has lost someone. And this is me, myself, my husband has been dead 10 years. And I'm living. But this grief counseling is a way for other people like myself, like man, to have some place to let it out. Kids are being shot and hurt all day long. And it's free. To need to go to just ease their mind. Even young people, as it grows, that grief counseling session is going to be something we all need. We've been locked up for 2 years. We need to talk to somebody because we got to start rebuilding life after COVID.
Yes.
How do you do that? I still have my mask.
Yeah, and that's why in terms of our health services, we also have behavioral health, but
Yes.
also back to food as healing. And
Yes.
I think one of the things that we're realizing this more and more now, loneliness kills.
Yes.
Yes, we have to do. That's why also very early on, instead of social distancing, physical distancing,
Yes.
socially connected as much as possible, as much as it's safe to be able to
Yeah.
share meals together and heal. But let's do this tour before time runs out.
And don't forget about our free pantry that's modeled like no other that we have. Right across the street on Racine, across the street, we have a model food pantry that is not, people the church is giving out food, but you walk in this place and you get a cart and you pick the food that is available. They'll bag it for you, everything is free, and take it to your car. Now, how many times can you go to it? They give you a box and send you out. You walk through this pantry and whatever they have available, you pick it yourself and leave with dignity.
Yes.
So I
that's-
just wanted to mention our free food pantry along with our fresh market that's opening up. Patrice, you finna take the tour because we can talk about our company for on and on and on.
Yes.
I love it. I got a beautiful job. I'm getting paid and eating and talking and telling what's truth to the community.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Butler.
You're
Thank you, Ms.
welcome.
Butler.
All right.
So that our food and wellness center, which houses the pantry, is right across the street from this fresh market at 63rd and Racine. So here we go, starting our tour and meeting some more of our fresh market staff. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Salima Ali, and I'm a storekeeper.
Storekeeper. Thank you, Salima.
Okay.
And here we have our general manager.
Darren Jr., the general manager. Put that on line. Air receiver, Nicholas Jones.
There we go.
Jahari Post, storekeeper.
One more time, we didn't hear you.
Jahari Post, storekeeper.
Jahari. Thank you.
Y'all met me.
And y'all met Michael. So we're just taking a quick tour, seeing the beautiful work. They just did a lot of the stocking.
Running this store, so know their faces, and they're gonna treat everyone like they're human.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is now only our first community fresh market, but this is everybody here that works here is a member in the community as well.
There
we
we
are
go.
not employees. We are all members.
All members.
Invested.
All members, investors. Thank you.
So whatever's here, we all approve it.
Nicholas, since you did a lot of work in this, can you take us through some of these aisles and explain some of what's going on here in general?
Okay, so over here we got any retail business, it's best to always tell a story. Anything that's on the shelves tell a story. So for instance, we got our pasta, we got our pasta sauce, we got our spaghetti, panini, fettuccine, all brands and stuff like that. So the rest is telling a story. So if you may want to make pasta,
that's high end. RAOS.
yeah, Raul.
Yeah, they're
Good stuff.
from New York.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, I see them on the food.
What's your
network.
favorite section?
My favorite section
Can you take us?
would be the noodles.
Let's go.
I grew up on noodles, coming from the PJs, so this I already knew. If you don't have really nothing in the house to fix yourself, you always had these in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's a
I just can't
variety.
eat chicken, so because I'm pescatarian, so I try to stick with the spicy shrimp, spicy kimchi, soy
Kimchi.
sauce,
How
shrimp.
often have you seen a kimchi noodle in a store?
Oh yeah.
Unless it's whole food.
Now that's just Whole Food or like a 7-Eleven,
Yeah.
a Go Puff or something like that. But to have it here,
Yeah, kimchi
Right
on
here.
the
Kimchi,
south side. Come
this is
on
real
now.
bougie stuff.
Yeah.
Bougie food.
So, see, some people, because when we talk about healthy eating, all that, they think, okay, well, now I can't have my noodles anymore.
Exactly. Now let me take to my other favorite spot in the fresh market. Now this is where we get real bougie. We got our shrimp,
Okay.
got our C-pack, This is all good stuff. It's supposed to be $7.99.
Okay.
$7.99.
$7.99.
Look at those.
Look at these.
Right. Those are gorgeous.
Raw, deveined,
Yeah,
tail on.
look, they look like something that you want to go home and make scampi.
Something you
or
can open
something.
and reseal
And still-
back up.
And still affordable, and there will also be membership benefits for members as well, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nicholas, for showing us around a little bit.
No
And this
problem.
store also will have, again, the deli. It will have a coffee station,
Mm-hmm.
and so we will have to-go meals
Yeah.
as well
Also,
as
don't
hot
forget
prepared.
about our-
Yeah, 1 second.
Don't forget about our graphic section, which will be supported by all Black-owned businesses, from food vendors to home essentials and body care as well.
Awesome. So body care as well. So
Mhm.
we'll be supporting other businesses in the community, and that's how it works.
Black-owned.
Black-owned businesses in community.
Gotta make sure we specify that.
Yes, sir.
Black-owned
In the
business.
community.
Thank you, Nicholas.
No
Yes.
problem. Thank you.
It's safe so we can shop.
Yes.
And they still filling it up. The fresh rolls, and those are going to be ready to make meals over there, correct?
Even the coffee going to be Black-owned coffee too as well.
There we go. So the last thing we're gonna do before we end, we got 3 minutes. We're gonna go upstairs to see the community space.
Because he's the manager.
Yeah. Darren, anything to add before we head upstairs?
I don't know what's already been said, but we are super excited to be able to bring this fresh market to the community. I think this is going to be a game changer for the
for everyone in the community, and I hope that this sets the precedent for future business opportunities that are in Black and brown communities. So.
Yes. Thank you, Darren.
Peace.
March 8th. If you ain't there, you're missing out.
See, I see you.
So here we are live, and Sarah, one of our other community organizers, who I'm in large debt to in terms of all the groundwork she's done in this work and the work that she continues to do here. We're about to head upstairs to the community space if you want to join us. So here we go, going up the stairs. And we have some more of our Fresh Markey stuff. Ms. K, would you like to introduce yourself? We're live.
Hi, live. I'm Kay Alexander, and I am the manager of operations. Welcome to the Fresh Market.
Thank you. And then we'll get, right before we end, we'll get to say hello to some of our leaders.
Oh, okay. Oh, no.
Yeah. So you want to say hi to the camera, Mrs. Stella?
Hey!
We're live over here.
Hey!
So that they're ready for the food. Anything that you want to say before we head out?
I hope it's good.
You hope it's good? It's going to be good. Cora, you want to say anything? You want to say goodbye?
Hi, my name is Cora. I had a nice time here, but I got to go. So sorry.
Thank you, Cora.
Yes.
So you know what our tradition is as we like to end our sessions. Mm-hmm. Can you close us out in a quick prayer before you go?
Who, that, me?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody bow their head. Heavenly Father, today has been a day, snowing and everything, but we had people to invite us here so we can enjoy the flourish of eating this wonderful food that I have not eaten yet, but I will. I want to bless everybody that's in this room, have peace and comfort, and let everybody take care of themselves and have the arm of God around you and traveling mercy on your way home. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you.
You
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Yes.